This is the Seahawkers podcast. I'm Brandon Schultz of the Military Seahawkers, and I am joined by my good buddy and Montana Seahawker, Adam Emmert, as we make our absolutely worst attempts at Week 4 picks.
Well, you say worse, but honestly, we've been right in the middle of things. So let's call it mediocre. I'm much more comfortable with mediocre.
I like how we tested this in advance, and yet your audio now, as soon as we start, is all jacked.
Really?
Yeah.
It didn't sound that way when we first when you just got on just a minute ago, just before we went live.
Just as soon as I hit live, it's messed up.
Okay, is it getting any better?
No, it's not good at all.
Okay, well, maybe this will be a short-lived live stream, boys and girls.
Yeah. Well, if you want to eject and try and come back in, we can.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. Okay.
And I can pull up my picks just to see how to do it. We've got Jason Honnert in the chat. Hello from Cincinnati. All right, Cincinnati checking in. How you doing, Jason? You've also got Sham in the chat. Yeah, Sham, the thing is, we actually did try and work this out ahead of time with Adam being in a different location. We thought we'll test things out first. It turns out that testing things sometimes don't work. Carly in the chat. I did not realize it was already Thursday. It's been a weird week, Carly.
Has been a weird week. Is this better with the,
you sound better now.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, it's been a weird week. Carly, I'm with you. I don't really know what day it is. This is 36 hours operating on about 2 hours of broken sleep on a plane and in the car. So today, probably be my best picks of the entire season. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, loopy as hell.
Our picks haven't been great. 8 picks correct for you last week. Just 6 picks correct for me. It's been tough for all of us, Adam, but we're going to give it a go again this week.
Heck yeah, man. And I hope, Sham, that I did fix it. Yeah, I am a noob on the road doing this, so he's not wrong.
Well, let us get into our picks this week. We'll kick things off. Adam, you had selected the Cowboys. They are actually up by 1 point right now, so you're looking like you're doing pretty well so far with that 86% majority.
Yeah, man. Gonna extend the lead here on you. And I still got to get my risk pick in, though, so that you might make it up there. But, yeah, a couple of franchises that are kind of mired in bad times right now. So we'll see how it goes for them.
Well, we'll see how it goes for me. And maybe the Giants can end up pulling this one out as I had them down for my risk pick. But moving on, we have Saints at Falcons, 39% going with the Falcons, 61% for the Saints. Can they bounce back after the Falcons played the Chiefs pretty tough this past week?
Falcons played the Chiefs tough. They eked out a win against the Eagles, I believe, the week before. Saints lose to the Eagles in another close one. So a couple similarly matched teams. I do believe, though, that the Falcons have been tested more in the early part of this season. And so I think I'm going with the Falcons here.
All right. Falcons for Adam. I'm actually going with the Saints. I don't think I can trust the Falcons, even though they did play the Chiefs relatively tough.
True. And I see they're 27th league in rushing there up on the screen. And that's surprising to me with Bijan and Algier. And I would imagine they're going to get that on track at some point here. And Kirk's playing himself into shape. So, yeah, I kind of like that ball hawking secondary from the Falcons. So that's kind of where my heart's at on this one.
I'm a little bit confused, though, by CBS here with 27th being 150.3 and then 6th being 153, if that's average yards.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
It makes no sense at all.
No.
Oh, it's offense versus defense. That's why. This is so defensively.
Against
they match up the offense and defense.
Okay, rushing yards 18th then in terms of offensively. I got it now. All right, picking up what the graphics putting down.
And that's the defense. Okay. Man, see, we're still in preseason form as far as picks goes. You got the Falcons. Moving on, Panthers, only 19% despite the Red Rifle coming off a big win last week, but they are going up against the Cincinnati Bengals, who have yet to get a win. Can they do it in Carolina?
Look, you always get the bump from the backup quarterback coming in, and don't get it twisted. I mean, Andy Dalton played fantastically, and I think they had 3 total explosive plays in the passing game up until they put in Andy Dalton for this last week, and he had 9 in just the one game. So, I mean, look, it's tempting to go with the Panthers here, but I honestly feel like the Bengals have to be in desperation mode here. I know they lost to the Patriots, another not so good team, but I feel like the Bengals are going to get it on track here. I can't imagine them in any world starting out 0-4. It just doesn't make any sense. Joe Burrow is not going to let that happen.
If they start off 0-4 and one of those 4 losses is a loss to the Panthers, which might be the worst team in the NFL right now, yeah, you get a little bit of a bounce from Dalton. But like you said, I understand why there's at least 19%
sure
that can see this happening, because it's possible. But man, oh man, that is disaster for the Bengals if that happens.
Oh yeah, and to Marlon's point, it does show how bad the young pick was right out of the gate. And who knows? Maybe he has a genotype renaissance. Gino had some nice comments about Bryce here yesterday, and just talking about needing to reset and get his head right. But I just didn't see the skill set. And if old Andy Dalton, who was the bar of mediocrity for so many years, is that much better than Bryce Young, it's a bad sign. Yeah, Andy Dalton revenge game from Jay here. Yeah, he's not wrong.
Does Andy Dalton even remember playing for the Bengals? I doubt it. No. Rams at Bears. 59% going with the Los Angeles Rams, coming off a maybe surprising win over the 49ers. The Bears at 1-2. Can they get back to even going up against a maybe? I want to look at the Rams defensive rankings, because yes, here they are. 32nd in total yards, 28th against the pass, 30th against the run, 31st in points, and they still got by the 49ers.
They sure did, but I honestly believe that this is the game that Shane Waldron gets the running game going a little bit with Swift and helps out Caleb a little bit. And this is the game going against a terrible, terrible defense that I believe that we're going to see Caleb Williams look like the number 1 pick. So I'm going Bears here.
We must be in that part of the Matrix, Adam, where every 8 minutes your audio goes bad. So,
okay, back out and back in then, huh?
Back out with you.
Bye.
Coming up at 6:45 Pacific time, we are going to be debuting our new What If episode, Lions at Seahawks, our game preview with Mr. Phil. We've got Clinton coming on. This is like a live professional promo here, as we've got that coming up, and it's going to be a fun show. Phil's got a lot of great topics as we look to spank the kitty coming up on Monday night.
Yeah, time to spank the kitty for sure.
All right, back to picks. We've got, yes, the terrible Rams defense against the Bears. Bears, not a great rushing team either, but can they get it on track against the Rams, Adam?
I believe they will. I hope they will. I want the Rams to lose badly here, because at 1-4, that puts them way back in the rearview mirror here for the Seahawks, and they still did us the favor of beating the Niners last week. So, yeah, I'm going Bears here, and they're at home.
I'm also going Bears. A lot of it, some of these picks I just want to happen. It doesn't necessarily mean I think it'll happen, but, I got to go with my rooting interest on some of these.
For sure.
Vikings at Packers. A little surprising here, only 40% going with the Packers, but maybe it's because not quite knowing the status of Jordan Love, and the Vikings are 3-0.
Vikings are 3-0, and they've looked legit. And, Sam Darnold has looked really good. Let us not forget they looked really good through 4 games with his last stint with the Panthers. And people were calling for MVP Sam Darnold there. I don't know. Is this the week that he turns back into a pumpkin? Hard to say, but Jordan Love practicing, and it sounds like he's pretty motivated to get back. And even if it's not, with the Vikings defense really kind of struggling against the pass, like I could see even Malik Willis having himself a day. And I really am a huge. This is honestly tough for me because I really like KOC. I really like LaFleur. I think this might be the game of the week. Boy, gosh, this is tough. I'll go Vikings.
You're going to go Vikings. I am going to stick with the Packers because again, going with my rooting interest, I want the Vikings. I want the Seahawks to be the last one standing as an undefeated team. And for that to happen, I think now would be a good time for the Vikings to go down. That first in rushing yards going up against the matchup with the Vikings being so strong in terms of run defense. It's going to tell us how this game goes, I think. And just because they have been that strong, I think the Packers can continue that against this Vikings defense.
I think so. I mean, the run game is awfully repeatable. Even, when you're with your backup quarterback, that Flores defense with all that cover zero stuff, it's a little boom or bust. And I think that kind of plays into the Packers' hands a little bit. But I don't know. I just think the Vikings, they just kind of have the right vibes going on with their entire team right now. So that's where I'm at with that.
The other thing I'm thinking, the Vikings have been up quite a bit, so maybe they haven't been tested as much in the run game.
That's a good point.
Jaguars 0-3. Will they go 0-4 against their division rival Texans? And will Trevor Lawrence be on the hot seat because of it?
No, Trevor Lawrence will not be on the hot seat, but this might be the last game that we see Doug Peterson as head coach. I'm going Texans here. I know they got a little embarrassed against the Vikings last week, but this is a get right game for them and a divisional game. It's topsy-turvy season though. So, I mean, would I be stunned if the Jaguars come out and win? No, but I think it's highly, highly unlikely. CJ Stroud will get back on track here. And do they get Mixon back yet? Is he playing? I don't know, but I like the Texans either way.
I like the Texans either way, especially when I look at that Jaguars defense, 29th in the league in passing, 28th in the league in points. I have a hard time believing that then they're also going to put up good numbers against the Texans defense that's, in the top 10 so far.
So basically you're saying this could be the hot seat for Trevor Lawrence. So it's going to be the Mac Jones era down in Jacksonville.
I don't mean hot seat in terms of getting pulled, but I don't know. How bad does it have to get before they go, well, let's see what Mac has for a week? It probably
$51 million bad? About that much?
It would have to be really, really bad.
Yeah.
But that $51 million investment not looking so great. Steelers, Colts playing at home, only 1-2. Anthony Richardson maybe not looking so great, and the Steelers off to a 3-0 start.
This is the easiest pick of the entire week. It's Steelers all the way. They're going to make Anthony Richardson's life hell. He has looked exactly as he looked in college. A couple of unbelievable plays followed by a zillion just god-awful plays. I think he threw 2 picks last week. I am not an Anthony Richardson believer in any way, shape, or form. I'm not even sure the Colts are good as a whole. And so, yeah, I'm going Steelers here all the way.
I'm going Colts. I think Jonathan Taylor could actually, run and take down this defense. I know they have a good.
But how? Like, if there's no passing threat, like they're just going to load the box up. That defense is ungodly. It's the best defense in the league. There's no way. You get one-dimensional and it's over.
The thing is, it's not like the Steelers score all that many points. They're averaging 17 points a game. And all you have to do, get a fluky defensive touchdown on a mistake that somebody on offense makes for the Steelers. Yes, I'm banking on fluky touchdowns and Jonathan Taylor getting a score. What's the problem with that?
Everything you just said.
Well, your audio is back, so you can jump out and jump back in. Another reminder coming up at 6:45 Pacific time, a new What If. We're going to be previewing that Lions matchup, and we're going to be having a good time. And don't be going after look, Marlon, as far as Anthony Richardson needing to be benched, I think that they just have to work through it. They have to give him some time. Let him work it out on the field. I don't think that the Colts get anything out of benching him necessarily, because who do they go to? Who's their backup?
Flacco. They get all sorts of things if they bench Anthony Richardson, like W's. Yeah, to Marlon's point here, yeah, he needs to be benched badly. Like, the guy was not even close to ready for the league. I said when the draft happened, he was like 4 years away. And I just don't understand it.
Let him play, take your L's, get a win over the Steelers, because I need it for my picks. I need them to be beaten. And yeah, you can use one of your top draft picks next year to help build up around Richardson, or take another quarterback if that's what you decide to do.
That's what I do, man. I try to get what I can in trade value to a guy who's injury prone, doesn't get down, takes too many hits, and he can't hit the broadside of a barn at 10 feet.
Broncos at Jets, 94% going with the Jets. They aren't buying the 1 week of Bo Nix that we got last week for that to continue. No, a lot of folks thinking that the Jets will hammer the Broncos, apparently.
Look, Broncos defense has been sneaky good, and Bo Nix looked to finally settle down a lot like he did in the preseason. First 2 weeks in the preseason, he was a little shaky, and it was a little up and down. And then by week 3, he kind of figured it out, caught up to the speed of the game. You saw him push the ball downfield a bit more last week. I like the Broncos here as my risk pick. And the Jets are such a Jekyll and Hyde team. We've seen them look terrible. We've seen them look pretty good. What's their signature win? The Titans?
Yeah, that's well, yeah, I don't think that they've looked great, but I liked how they looked last week. Aaron Rodgers maybe just starting to get it going. I'm sticking with Aaron Rodgers.
That's fair. Again, you got to take, or you and I, we have to take a risk pick, and this one feels right to me.
I don't know why all your picks went away as
because they were too damn good.
too good. CBS said no.
I had Falcons.
Back out. Try again. You had the Falcons. You had the Bengals.
There we go.
That looks right. All right.
Yeah.
Eagles at Buccaneers. 70% going with the Eagles. 30% Bucks. Bucks are the home team, and they are Eagles are favored by 1.5.
Look, the Eagles' offense is broken outside of Saquon, and I do not look like what I'm seeing out of Jalen Hurts to this point in this season. I honestly think the season he went to the Super Bowl was the outlier. Like, guys are running back, playing quarterback. I do like Saquon and all that, but I think the Bucs are a more well-rounded team. And I know the rankings don't look great here, but they came out, beat the Lions. Like, that's a statement win there. I know they got rolled by the Broncos last week, but I think they were sleeping on them, taking them lightly. They're not going to do that with the Eagles. So I'm going Bucs here at home.
I'm going to go with the Eagles. Battle of the Sooner quarterbacks, and I'm taking the most recent of them with Jalen Hurts. And yeah, I like Saquon in that rushing game to go up against this defense that hasn't been able to stop the run to this point.
No, I hear you. I mean, look, this is a signature game here as I sit here in Idabel, Oklahoma. Boomer Sooner.
Yeah, you're in the country.
Yeah.
Sooner.
I had to drive through Cowboys country for a second, though. That was gross.
Ew, gross. Well, actually, Oklahoma is also still Cowboys country.
We're not going to talk about that.
Commanders at Cardinals. This is about as close to a coin flip game as there is on the schedule this week, it looks like.
Well, I'd say the fans have it right on this one. I don't know what the betting odds or anything like that, but you're talking about a Cards team that I think is just chronically overhyped. They have played people tough, but totally overhyped. And I don't know if you watched much of Jaden Daniels on Monday night, Brandon.
It was incredible.
It was unreal. That was the reason he was my number one pick in this draft in terms of quarterbacks. And even though the Commanders' defense is trash, I'm going with B-Wags and I'm going with Jaden Daniels here. We're going Commanders.
It's kind of wild that defense is ranked as badly as it is, considering their coach, a very defensive-minded coach. Although he didn't have the Falcons defense wasn't all that great when he was coaching down there either. So, yeah, Dan Quinn. I still like him to get another win, go to 3-1, take control of this NFC East division, and take down the Cardinals while doing it.
Yeah, I might be commando right now for all Clinton knows.
Patriots at 49ers, 96%. Only 4% believe in the Patriots and their one win.
Look, man, if you're looking for a risk pick, I think this would be a decent one. I think this is way closer than the odds are stating here. Again, if you listen to the flagship show here coming out, you're going to hear all about all of the Niners tears. It's glorious. They're in a bad spot. And I'm going to go with the Niners here, but I don't love it because I think if they end up losing this one, they could totally become unraveled. And it feels like Kyle's losing the pulse of this team a little bit. The fans are all against him. Fire Kyle, get him out of there. Defensive coordinator is under fire. Other defensive coordinator probably under fire too because they have two defensive coordinators for like no reason. Just so Kyle has more people to blame, I guess. And Jay, that's in your head and you can't help it. Sorry, bud. And it is awful. You didn't need that. Yeah, you're totally right. But yeah, I'm going to go Niners, but I don't feel good about it at all.
Well, as you hop out once again with your audio, you can hop back in with a pair of underwear. Carly Perkins, I picked the Pats. I'm hoping the Niners lose. And if I'm right, I can make up the horrible last 2 weeks. I'm going Niners just for the sole fact that I picked them to win last week and they lost. And so I want to keep that strategy going. I'm going to pick them again in hopes that they once again lose this next week. That's just how I'm making my picks now.
So you're curse picking them?
I'm curse picking the Niners.
Okay.
Because it worked. It worked last week. You can't.
Hey, I'm here for it
now.
Yeah.
Browns at Raiders, 67%. Rightly going with the Raiders over the stupid Browns.
Yeah, you clicked the right one. This is Raiders all the way. The Browns are an absolute dumpster fire. Like they won't win a dang thing as long as Deshaun Watson's their quarterback. And it doesn't have a lot to do with his skill set, even though he's playing poorly. This has everything to do with the locker room clearly doesn't play for this dude. And they don't like him, rightfully so. They don't want to be tied to this dude anymore. Stefanski needs to bench this dude ASAP and get in Dub Fingers Winston. And but he's not going to do it because they're on the hook for too much guaranteed money. And how do you pick against jorts? You don't. This is Gardner Minshew all the way. Raiders defense, like Max Crosby's going to give Deshaun Watson hell, and you give him just a little bit of pressure, and he folds like a lawn chair.
It could be close just based on defensively what Minshew has to go up against with the Browns, but yeah, we don't need to spend a ton of time on that game. We can move on to the Chiefs at Chargers, although this one relatively lopsided despite the Chargers playing at home.
Yeah, I think I feel the same as the fans here, only because I do believe in the Chiefs defense, man. They've been really good for basically a season and a half here. They carried them to a title last year. I mean, I'm not saying that Mahomes wasn't great and all of that stuff, but at the end of the day, I think they can shut down the Chargers run game. And Herbert went out last week with the ankle injury. I'm not sure if he's returning, but I just don't see. But here's the thing. Chargers give the Chiefs hell, like for no reason. Like they're their Rams. So like when the Rams are terrible. But yeah, I'm going Chiefs here.
It wouldn't be terrible as a risk pick, especially when you look at the defensive numbers. Now they're going to be going without Derwin James, who is suspended for this game. But yeah, still, that's they've been pretty solid in terms of defense. And yeah, Harbaugh has those guys playing tough. It could be a close game.
Could be a close game. I don't think it will be.
Bills at Ravens. This is another fun matchup of the week in Baltimore. The Bills 3-0. I'd have a hard time picking against the Bills because I just want them to lose again so the Seahawks can be the only undefeated team. But I don't know if I can do it with the Ravens.
Look, the Ravens have one win against the lowly Cowboys here. But Derrick Henry did get on track in that game. It looked like Monken was kind of figuring out that dynamic of having Lamar as the running threat and Henry as the bruiser, and they were able to just kind of jelly it down their throat. The Bills defense has been better this year, despite a lot of losses in the offseason. And I mean, shoot, is anybody playing better quarterback than Josh Allen right now? I think it's. I heard somebody say. I think it was on the Ringer Football Show that. It was Mitchell Schwartz, the former Chiefs lineman. That number one quarterback in the league right now in terms of their play is Josh Allen. Number two, Geno Smith. So
Wow.
Geno finally getting some love here, but Josh Allen is playing out of his freaking mind. And I like the Bills here, even though I think that this is not nearly as lopsided as the statistics here show.
A little bit deceptive when you see the Ravens defense first in rushing yards. When you're 32nd in passing yards, teams don't really need to run the football against you.
Right, and you're going against a guy who can do all the throws. So good luck with that.
Yeah, that's a tough matchup, I think. And that's where I look at this game and go, look, if the Ravens secondary, if they're playing that bad and Josh Allen has catapulted himself into the favorite for MVP running, I know it's early in the season, but give him a chance against this defense.
I totally respect Smokehock here with the YouTube member here that has his pick in with the Ravens to just kind of stir the pot. I dig it. I'm into that. I like the petty pick here.
On to Monday Night Football. That was your Sunday Night Football matchup. We have two Monday Night Football games once again, and the first one is the 0-3 Titans against the Miami Dolphins, coming off the loss to the Seahawks.
Sweet. My pick in this game is who the fuck cares?
Well, you got to pick one.
Do I?
No, that's fine. You can go pickless.
Yeah, I know. I'll go with the Dolphins. I don't know.
Wow. Adam on board with the Dolphins.
I couldn't care less about this game. Like, there's no part of me that cares. I can't stand the Dolphins. The Titans had so much hype coming into this season. A lot of people believing they're going to be decent, and they're a dumpster fire. And look, Will Levis turns the ball over in his sleep. Like, this is a toilet bowl, Smokehock. You are not wrong. I think the Titans are the stinkier turd here.
I'm only going with the Dolphins because I'm done picking the Titans. I think I've picked them at least 2 out of the first 3 weeks. I can't do it anymore. Even with as injured as the Dolphins are, I think they find a way to beat the Titans.
Right. And look, ordinarily I'd be extra mad about this because the Seahawks playing on Monday night prime time, first time this year, and they're going to have another primetime game competing with them, but they don't have another primetime game competing with them. Nobody cares about that game. And so, we got, just like Carly's saying, the real
Monday
night
football
game.
As you eject for the final time and you come back in so we can talk about the Seahawks matchup against the Lions. Nate Shute says, I don't know why people like 2 Monday night games. I think it works out, like in this case, it works out really well because if you want to, especially if you're on the East Coast, you want to get off work, you want to start the game and maybe just work your way into football with a little Titans, Dolphins. And then as soon as the actual Monday night game starts between the Seahawks and Lions, it's like you're warmed up and primed for watching football. And then, yes, here it is, the real game, Seahawks, Lions.
Yeah, to answer Nate here, look, the reason I don't like it is that they overlap. And so you got to watch 2 games at once. Number one, I'm not a big fan of that. Number two, at the end of the day, I just spent my whole Sunday watching football. I don't need to spend my entire Monday night. I have a relationship to try not to ruin and all of that stuff. So that's the reason I'm out on the 2 Monday night games.
You can go double screens. You got the tablet screen. You got the regular TV. It's
I know
2 games. You can work it out.
But I only have one set of eyeballs, and my brain does not process 2 games at once very well. I'm a slow learner, so
I'm fine with it. It's I can handle it. I can do 2 things at once, but I can't do anything about my pick other than picking the Seahawks right here.
Absolutely, Seahawks. It's funny. I always wear like one of my Seahawks hoodies when I'm going around the airports and when I'm traveling and all that stuff. And most of the time, all I really get is just like, "Hey, go Hawks!" That sort of thing as I'm walking around. I never ever get any sort of trash talk or anything like that. But I scan my ticket to board the plane from Denver to Little Rock, and this agent looks at me and goes, "Go Lions." And I was just like, wait, what? Where did that came out of nowhere? But so I got a little trash talk on that one.
Just a little bit of trash talk. Yeah, look at this. The Lions defense, 20th in passing defense. They're pretty solid against the run. Fortunately for the Seahawks, we don't run the ball all that much, being 23rd in the league right now. And I just think Geno going against that defense, he seems to live for playing in that on Ford Field too. And just listening to him in his press conference today talk about how he likes playing in those types of environments, those hostile environments, that we could see another big Geno game.
We could, and I think this whole game comes down to, does Aiden Hutchinson abuse Stone Forsythe more than DK, JSN, and Tyler abuse their corners? And that's a toss-up to me. We will see, but I don't predict this being the high-flying affair that we have seen the last couple of years. And we break it all down on the flagship show here. So if you guys want to hear a little more in-depth analysis on it, then you can check that out. But to answer Matt's question, because he said actually predict for our teams, and then Clinton comes in 20-0. Carly comes in and she's like, "Oh yeah, 17-0, duh." And no, why? I appreciate those comments there. What I actually predict after a 3-0 start, I think they can get to 10 wins pretty easily.
All right. Well, predicting 10 wins. How about predicting the combined total points scored in this game?
I'm gonna say 28
combined.
Yep.
Wow.
I think it's going to be a little bit more of a rock fight than people think.
Man, I thought my combined of around 42 was low.
Well, the whole thing to me is that I think it's going to be hard for the Seahawks offense to get going with the matchup with the Detroit Lions defensive line, and with Bradford and Stone and Tomlinson playing at the level that they are. And then conversely, the Lions have really run it up and down the field, but haven't scored a ton of points. And the Seahawks defense is legit. And I think they can shut down the running game. And at that point, Ben Johnson's had a hard time getting the passing game going when the run game isn't working.
Exactly, Marlon. 42 combined points, 42 for the Seahawks, 0 for the Lions.
I like it. I would prefer that. I'd prefer that.
It's going to be tough, I think, to score points just because of the offensive line, Aiden Hutchinson, and that battle that's going to be happening. And then I also think that we're going to see Dan Campbell aggression that ends up taking points off the board too, where he's going to be going for touchdowns rather than field goals. And that's going to end up limiting the points. So I think you're right that it has the possibility of being low scoring. And we'll end up seeing how it plays out.
Hey, look, Jay. I can see where Jay's coming from. Like that's a legit prediction, because if the Seahawks can just be serviceable up front, then I think the receivers feast on Terry and Arnold, and is it Campbell, the other corner? I think that would be a big game for Geno at that point.
Well, a big thanks to everybody who joined us live for our picks. We are going to get on out of here, but stick around. In just about 10 minutes, we are going to be previewing this matchup between the Lions and the Seahawks on our new episode of What If. Clinton Bonner, Phil Leidick going to be joining me. And we're going to be talking about some of those matchups we just got done talking about.
Heck yeah, man. Tune into that, guys. I'm sure the fellows do an amazing job on that. And looking forward to a fantastic weekend of football and a 4-0 Seahawks team that everybody has to finally admit, legit.
And I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. And thanks for sticking with me through some audio struggles.